The video games we hold close to our heart are part of us. They're the best of a chosen medium, a representation of dozens of hours spent in their world, and a great way to get to know someone's character. If they like Detroit Become Human, run. It can be very difficult to explain what draws you to a particular game or genre. Sometimes you can only toss out one of those,
I just think they're neat,
and move on with your day. But sometimes you know exactly what hits the spot, and recently, that's where I've been at with Elden Ring. Souls games and their brethren have very quickly become some of my favourite things to dive into. I mean, there's a lot to be attracted to. Their lore, their aesthetics, their characters. It's fun, it's challenging, and it's a
Great way to stay in shape.
This love began with Elden Ring, but the hunger for more FromSoft content and those it inspired has blossomed like millennia with the release of Shadow of the Erdtree. With that said, there's been a particular part of Elden Ring and its DLC that has very much helped my descent into this pseudo-masochism. One part that even when I wasn't necessarily vibing with the game itself, helped maintain the motivation to keep trying with it. And now, it's one of my favourite games. So grab a flask of Crimson Tears, say hi to the Pope Dog for me, and let's talk about my favourite part of Elden Ring. The community. Let's start at the beginning. But first, this video is sponsored by Redownscape.com. I was once a balding tarnished, longing for the glory days of my beautiful locks, but thanks to Redownscaped, I can now style with confidence. Used by the one and only Starscourge, how do you think you got that luscious red mane? Check them out and use Meteor at checkout for 100% off every order. Now, let's get back to the video. As I said in my first Elden Ring video, one of my favourite gaming memories was the reveal of Elden Ring at Summer Games Fest.
Holy shit. Jeff Keighley?
It was the sort of thing I might be interested in, but the thing that really sold me on it was the vibe around it. People were just excited for a new From Software game, and one that looked pretty darn good. There was plenty of conversation around it, and with the negativity that can be in the gaming industry, it was cool just to see people looking forward to something that was pretty much a surefire bet. I didn't get Elden Ring when it first came out.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Which is for a couple of reasons. The main was that I actually didn't have a platform to play it on. That'll do it. I was more than happy just occasionally seeing Elden Ring pop up on my Twitter timeline and then moving on. A few months later, I had some personal matters come up, and I ended up not going home for Easter. So I picked up a PlayStation 4 to distract myself, and with the means to finally play it, I bought Spider-Man. Great game, by the way. The main reason I didn't get Elden Ring immediately was that I was afraid I either wouldn't like it. I didn't really fall in love with Dark Souls 1 when I played it, despite having like 40 hours into it. What was I doing? Baking bread? The other problem was that I feared that I wouldn't be able to finish it. Elden Ring's bloody hard. That and these games usually have spiders or bug-adjacent creatures, and I happen to be quite partial to avoiding those hellspawn. Anyway, I was sitting in my friend's garden, having taken them up on the extremely generous offer to spend a few days with them. And it was there I said fuck it and ordered Elden Ring for when I returned. And boy did I die immediately. I didn't know that much, and had heard a lot about how it's the kind of game you should go in blind. Then this happened.
What the fuck am I doing here?
Didn't play much after that. I'd usually get stuck in the classic Souls loop of finding a new boss, fighting a new boss, dying to new boss, crying to new boss, fighting them so long that I can probably no longer call them the new boss, and then finally using Scarlet Rot to kill that boss. There was more cheese here than the moon. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. The day I beat Elden Ring was the greatest day of my life, provided that we don't count any of the other good days. And I thought to myself,
You, sir, are a fish.
and that I'd never have to play this game again. Fuck. This begins what I lovingly refer to as my get good era, where I, in no certain terms, wanted to get better at Elden Ring. I loved the narrative, its themes, every moment of its writing, its art design. I wanted to play Elden Ring on its terms. With the first playthrough under my belt, I began to seek out Elden Ring content and tips to solve the skill issue that made Elden Ring such a drag towards the end of the first playthrough. When I started Elden Ring, I feel like I wanted the easy solution to every problem, and didn't want to engage with everything Elden Ring had to offer. The passion to keep playing was there, and there was still so much to explore. Over the course of a few months, I put a decent amount of time into Elden Ring, beginning to find weapons I liked, engaging with the meta, trying to do some theme runs to play the game in different scenarios. And I got just okay at it. I never thought I'd get to the level that some are, but I was getting to a point where I felt like every step wasn't like running through the Lake of Rot. But with my newfound skill, I very much wanted to test my mettle against something new. DLC. This was exactly what I needed, a test of strength. Not only was there a chance to play Elden Ring on its terms for the first time, but the atmosphere was immaculate once again. It was the same vibe as when Elden Ring came out, and this time, I was ready to properly engage with it. New content, and it was going to be a pretty big open world area to look forward to. Size of Limgrave my ass. No, I went into the DLC with my head in the sand, didn't look up anything, avoided Twitter and all forms of social media, a fully blind playthrough, exploring every single nook and cranny, and I have to say it was... Like, the DLC is incredible and gave me that challenge I wanted, but I found myself feeling quite isolated. I stumbled into the art that was the Mesmer fight, and found myself struggling alone. Even after putting on holding out for a hero, destroying Mesmer and feeling like a god, there was a part of me that wanted to explore it with someone else. Games are a social thing. I definitely wouldn't have enjoyed Super Mario 3D World as much as I did if I hadn't been fortunate enough to be able to play through it entirely with a friend. It was at this time that a friend of mine mentioned that they were looking forward to playing the DLC when they could get it, and so she came round and played it on my console. And I've got to say, this was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had gaming. We could still avoid spoilers and experience everything on our own for the first time, but now it was a much more communal experience. The energy when she found Radahn was the final boss was the stuff of legend. Also, at this point, I'd seen much of what the DLC had to offer, or at least as much as I wanted to explore. I knew that I was never gonna 100% it the first time, and there was a decent amount of areas I hadn't been to yet. Once I'd reached the final boss and had run out of paths to explore, I was more than happy opening myself up to the information and tips again. I got on that all remembrances grind and had one hell of a time. Challenge runs started to come out, lore details dripped from every surface, and everyone's manners was impeccable. Milady? Watching the creators I'd grown to love experience the DLC, watching my friend play and be able to explore it together, watching others overcome some of the hardest bosses ever created. This is what dreams are made of. When I experienced the DLC on my own, it was great, yes, but so much better when I didn't have to worry about spoilers and could just enjoy the game how I wanted, with others.
Never! That's completely idiotic.
This isn't to say that you can't enjoy a game alone. I loved Goodbye Volcano High, but hell did I not want to engage with its discourse. Life is Strange is amazing as long as you don't get involved with its thirsty as a dog on a hot day community. The hell does that mean? What I've found is that single players can be kinda lonely sometimes. Elden Ring is a game I feel is truly improved by experiencing it with others. The way its world is constructive lends itself to discussion and comparisons of your adventure with others. Consuming content about it, whether that be themed runs, challenge runs, lore, memes, theories, even just reading tweets about it. Now I know that Elden Ring and the Souls community often get a bad rap. It can be elitist and incredibly toxic.
It's a real gamer thing.
That definitely exists in every community, but I do feel as though it's especially prevalent in the From Software corner. If you use Spirit Ashes you didn't beat the game, Bleed or Scarlet Rot is cheating, and wait, you could see the screen? Pussy. The Elden Ring community is genuinely wonderful though. Zero Lenny is just so wholesome, Lil Aggie is skilled and funny as heck. Chulok and Mango is the repressed sense of humour we all pretend like we don't have, but come on, we do. It's great to watch people who genuinely love the game and know that when they criticise it, it comes from a place of compassion, not hate. Not that kind of compassion. If you listen closely, you may be able to hear the seagulls.
Goals night out, huh?
No ways.
As long-time subscribers of the channel may surmise, thanks to the 15 of you who stuck around by the way, I kind of struggled with what kind of content I wanted to make. Though the style hasn't necessarily changed, I still make bad jokes, and I managed to cut away to both Family Guy and The Simpsons in this video, the actual subject of the videos is something that I've been considering for a while. I wanted to make sure that each video was something I genuinely wanted to talk about, rather than just churning out things that I thought would do well. If I wanted to do that, I wouldn't have released a Sonic edit using the goddamn Royal Navy. And so, this channel is going to be a bit more focused, and also more regular. Sorry about that. I want to engage with Souls and their likes more and more, and so I'm going to be making videos on that very subject. This will have a particular focus on Elden Ring, as it's just the game I love the most and play the most, but I am open to tackling the Dark Souls trilogy, Bloodborne, Sekiro, as well as the non-From Software, Soft Souls titles like Lies of P and so on. After beating the DLC, I can safely say that my heart has been stolen. I'm ready to buckle down. I've got some challenge/themed runs planned, discussions about Elden Ring's themes, and some one-off stuff. So stay tuned for that, and if not, I hope you're having a great day. And remember,
all vessels are destined to one day break. But the great Alexander lived as a warrior to his last.
hey. Like something that starts and turns into an announcement, there's always one more thing. But in this case, it's more of a Fast and Furious Crossroads type of deal. In hopes of being more legitimate with this channel, I've started a Patreon. I personally hate it when creators lock substantial content behind a paywall, so all content that's available there will also be available on YouTube. Hopefully it's priced like that. Please know that if you can't or don't want to subscribe to it, no hard feelings. Anyway, I have a date with Ronnie, so I'll see you later. Bye.
It was thee who would become my lord.